And welcome to everyone. As you all are aware of, OCI has special interest groups for dispensing optics, clinical optometry, binocular vision, and low vision on the Facebook. This webinar specifically we have planned exclusively for SIG members of dispensing optics specialty. First, I would like to invite Lakshmi ma'am to say a few words about all these SIG groups and this webinar series. Welcome, Lakshmi ma'am.
Thank you. Hello to everybody who is joining us on Facebook live. Thanks first of all to all the members of the SIG group, because I think having trusted us with your time. With your time and efforts. I think thanks a lot to all of you. I think we have more than around 700 members in each of the SIG groups, and some of them are members of all four as well. So that's very interesting. The reason why we started these SIG group webinars is to actually make people aware in the different groups of what is available in practice. For example, today being dispensing, Gopi would be touching upon all the tools that are available for accurate dispensing of various kind of spectacles, not just single vision alone. So what's available in the market, what helps you in what kind of dispensing and stuff like that. So these are not going to be regular lectures. These are definitely going to be skewed towards your own practices. And helpful for students also to know what is available in the market. So today is dispensing. Now in the future, we are planning to do one webinar every month. Earlier we had, I think, low vision from Renu, if I'm not wrong. Now it is Gopi from dispensing. And we also have clinical, I think, in one group, and one more group is binocular vision. So all these lectures will definitely be skewed towards what's available, what are the minimum equipment you have to invest on these, and how do you better yourself in practice using all that is available in the market. So that's all I wanted to tell you. So these are not regular lectures which it is going to teach you this is how you measure something, this is how you do, this is step A, step B, etc. Rather than the lecture mode, this is going to be more of practically what's available and what we can do, and how to improve the profession, as well as how to improve patient care using what is available in the market. So over to you, Harshada, and thanks, Gopi, for your time as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. As Lakshmi ma'am said, this is the second in the series, and today we are pleased to have a speaker who has had a distinguished career in the field of optometry. I would like to invite Dr. Gopinath, who is a research associate and lecturer at Achyuta Eye Care and Institute of Optometry. He is also a founder of Opto Research Consultancy Services. We also have our dispensing optics SIG core members as a panelist who will join us after the presentation for the discussion. So if you have any questions, please type in the chat box. We will be live on FB. So without wasting much time, I would like to invite Dr. Gopinath for his talk. Welcome, Dr. Gopinath.
Thank you. Am I audible and clear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So thank you, OCI, for this opportunity, and all the members of the SIG dispensing optics. And so as was explaining by Lakshmi, so the talk is going to be more towards how you can improve the visual outcomes as an optometrist in terms of dispensing. So I'm not going to touch upon how to measure. Rather, if you do not measure it in a proper way, what is going to happen? So that's how the entire talk is going to be. So I'll talk for 25 to 30 minutes of time. Maybe later on we can take up the questions, as Harshada was telling. And so this is the broad way we are going to look at dispensing by an optometrist. So first being the precision and prescription, how you measure, how you prescribe a prescription. Next one being the lens selection and customization as per the patient or the customer requirement. Then being the frame selection and fitting of the spectacle as per the requirement of the patient and what is available. And next one being the patient education and counseling when and where, like whenever it is required, and ongoing care and follow. So we'll go each one step by step. First being a prescription, and accurate refraction is very, very important, which is the first step for any spectacle dispensing or even a contact lens dispensing. So precise determination of refractive error will have a very optimal visual correction. When there is an incorrect refraction, there is going to be the visual outcomes are going to be there, but which is going to be much more reduced in terms of best corrected vision. So there is going to be again dissatisfaction from the patient or the customer. So when you want to prescribe a proper prescription, you should have a good chat time or improved communication with your customers so that you tend to understand their requirement, need, how much of distance requirement they have, near requirement they have, their walking distance from the for them. But there are, as per the occupation, you can design the prescription as per their occupation, working distance, and the visual needs for distance and near. And again, the sufficient time and attention has to be given to the patient's point so that you don't lead, like if you go to a regular OPD or a patient care in a hospital or opticals, due to the chat time, or you have more number of patients, but you tend to miss very small things what they report in terms of vision. So all this needs to be attended very carefully so that you prescribe a proper prescription and then go to the next step.
Gopi,
So, yeah,
possible to just speak a bit louder or increase your mic, this thing
sure.
slightly?
I'll-
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Continue.
So is it better now?
Yeah.
So let's see a small case scenario where a 30-year-old myope presents with a complaints of headache and an eye strain while performing near work with his new spectacles, and optometrist performs a comprehensive examination including visual acuity and refractive error assessment. So what might have gone wrong? So what the three major things comes to my mind are either incorrect prescription, or the incorrect pupillary distance measurement, or improper lens centration. So these three things are very important whenever you try to troubleshoot a patient or a customer. So when coming to the precise measurement, monocular PDs are very, very important, where you measure monocularly the right eye and left eye PDs. You have various tools like the currently available, the pupillometer or the regular PD scale and a torchlight, which are more than enough to measure a proper monocular PD. I think all of you must be knowing how to measure the PD, but however, the method you measure is very important. You be consistent with what you want, which instrument you are measuring. If you are comfortable with the ruler, always use the ruler. If you're comfortable with the PD ruler, which is being provided by the lens manufacturers, say Essilor or Zeiss, you use that. Otherwise, you go with the digital measurement, that is pupillometer. So whichever you are comfortable, make sure you do use that one to measure the PD, not the one which you are not comfortable. Coming to the next part of the precise measurement is the optic centration, where any inaccurate optic centration leads to induced prism, particularly when a patient converges to read. So say this, in this example, we ask for a 68 PD, but it is being prescribed or it is being fitted with a 64. In such low power, it can be tempting, like you might ignore if the small inaccuracy of low power can be ignored. However, if you put these values in Prentice rule and calculate P is equal with the formula of P is equal to CF, it induces 1.4 prism diopters base out differential prism for distance and 2.8 prism diopters base out differential prism when reading. So even a small precision or mistake in your pupillary distance measurement is going to affect patient's overall performance and visual outcomes. So this is the tolerance limit provided, suggested by the ANSI standard. So for tolerance for distance refractive power, with how much of cylinder can be tolerated, how much of spherical power can be tolerated as per the range of prescription. For single vision as well as progressive lenses, and how much of progressive in terms of prism reference point, how much is can be tolerated in progressive lenses. So this is available outside. So you make sure you do not make mistakes in terms of precision measurement, especially your optic centration and pupillary distance. So next one being the vertex distance, where it is usually measured from the corneal apex to the visual point on the axis. So what happens when you have an ametropia patient? So you have one eye less power and other eye has high minus prescription. The effective power of the spectacle is going to change, which is going to relatively affect the position of the distance vision. So these are all the three different methods you measure the vertex distance. You can use a distometer or regular PD ruler, or a frame, trial frame, which has a sophisticated measurement for the vertex distance. So what happens if you do not put the lenses, or if you do not measure the vertex distance for high refractive errors, say high myopia? So in case of minus lenses, if you have increased vertex distance, there is going to be magnifying effect and magnifying effect in the positive lenses. So corresponding retinal image size is going to drop simultaneously, which is going to affect the visual acuity of high myope if the vertex distance is increased on a significant amount. So it's very important you maintain or you measure the vertex distance even in case of high myopia when you place the lenses. Otherwise, it is going to change the overall performance of the spectacle. Though your prescription is correct, your PD is correct, your optic centrations are right, but any change in the vertex distance is going to really affect the patient's overall performance. And couple of other things, when you go for bifocals, it's very important to measure the segment height so that they get the maximum near zone or it doesn't affect the distance vision. And when it comes to progressive lenses, it's always better you measure the minimum fitting height available for the particular frame and which design you choose for, and as per the patient's requirement. So all these three things you should be looking for: what frame their patient is choosing, what is the lenses they are choosing for, and what is the minimum fitting height that can be made for the particular frame. So these three things are important so that the patient's distance vision, near vision, and intermediate vision is prescribed with a proper, or they have a very good adequate distance near and intermediate vision. So that's completes the first part of the thing, like the precise measurement and how prescription is important. Next comes the lens selection. Whether you choose single vision, bifocals, trifocals, or progressive or occupational progressives, whatsoever it is, you decide as per the patient's requirement again, and decide on the lens material, whether it is CR or poly or Trivex or even glass lenses. Always make sure you prescribe a polycarbonate or a Trivex material to a child who are under the age of 18, and prefer for a sports person also prefer a polycarbonate. So these things are very important because if you choose a proper lens also has an impact on the visual performance. And you always give the options of UV protection and coatings to the patient so that they don't like if the patient is going to work in a computer for a longer time or being in the outside. So these things are very important. And in terms of high refractive error, decide on the what index you are going to prescribe, how is the lens design is going to be, look at the previous lens, and then don't change the base curve of the lens so that the patient's the visual comfort is going to be much better. If you're going to change the entire base curve or the design of the lens, they will have adaptation difficulties, or some of the patients will be like, I'm not comfortable with it. They will go with they want a previous base curve itself. So that's very important. So coming to the lens selection according to the occupation. So for drivers, you all prefer to give any kind of tints as per their requirement. In case of train drivers, clear lenses are very important because they are going to work day and night, and any tinted is not recommended for train drivers. Pilots always prescribe polarized lenses. If they are in a factory workers or if they are in heavy industries, safety is very important. So always prescribe high impact lenses. If they are office workers, anti-reflection coating is recommended. And for lecturers, teachers, and whoever wants to present something, occupational lenses are available. And sharp focus will always require a wider distance. So if they are presbyopic, always choose with a wider distance as per their demand. And if they are having more of outdoor activities, photochromic lenses are going to be very important. So after you decide a prescription on, you measure everything, you discuss the lens selection, you discuss all the lens requirements to the patient, so that they get a clear idea what really they need. And you also can improve your dispensing skills as well as improve your entire like patient satisfaction by telling what lenses are really needed. Coming to the third point, that is the frame selection and fitting. So there is a saying by Dr. R.E. Bruce, where a poor fitting frame is as bad as having a wrong eye. So it's always start when you measure something, or when you start precise measurement, it's better to have a frame selected, better frame and well-fitting frame. So there are different materials are used for style, durability, and color, ease of use. So you decide what is the participant or patient requirement is, which ideally it should be a light, strong, and easily adjustable, but retain their shape. Any frame should have all these things, so that even if you go somewhere wrong in terms of measurement, that you should have an option to adjust the frame, so that your outcomes are going to be better. And it should be flexible enough to insert the lenses. So these are all the steps you should observe. So you look at the frame front, look at the splay angle, nose pieces, temples, and very important, you should not just look at the frame, it should be observed on the patient's face. So put it on the patient's face, look at how good is the frame front, whether the retrospective or pantoscopic tilts are better, whether it is closer to the eye, vertex distance is measured properly, is it too big, too small? So all those things has to be observed before choosing a frame, and it should be well fitting. So major checkpoints are 4-point checks, where you place the frame on the desk. All the four corners has to be stable and sitting on the floor, and it should be a proper fit, proper alignment. It should be comfortable to the patient, and appearance is very, very important, because of that many doesn't wear glasses or their spectacles. And next one is the pantoscopic tilt. Finally, the patient satisfaction. So if you are able to comply with all these points, then you are going to choose a better frame. It is going to be fitting better. So your accuracy is going to be better in terms of your precision measurement, and the outcome is going to be excellent. So next is the patient education and counseling, where see, again, going with the case scenario, you are being presented with a patient where there are scratched and smudged lenses which are affecting their vision, and you inquire. It is revealed that patient has been using abrasive material to clean the lenses and storing the spectacle without a case. So this is how you get a patient or a customer for a troubleshooting. So it's very important to counsel and explain to the patient that a regular cleaning of spectacle lenses is crucial to maintain a clear vision. Use a mild, non-abrasive lens cleaning solution and a clean, lint-free cloth to remove the smudges, fingerprints, and debris, so that there are no scratches on the lenses. They will have a better vision. And avoid using harsh chemicals or materials that can damage the coatings also. Next point being the storage. So proper storage of spectacle when it is not in use is essential to prevent scratches and breakage or misplacement. So if you are in your clinic or optical practice and you are wearing a spectacle, we always tend to remove it and place it on the table, or put it on the packet. So don't do that in front of the patient, because you are going to be an example that where you are going to put it in your pocket or use a normal cloth for cleaning. So don't do that. So whenever you are in the practice place or whenever you are doing it, make sure you do it in a proper way so that they follow it, and encourage to store their spectacle in a protective case, which should be shield them from dust, moisture, or any accidental damage. And avoid placing the spectacle on face down on hard surface, so that avoid like scratches over the lenses. So scratches and smudges are the major reasons where patients comes back to you saying, I'm not able to see anything, or it is very blurred, or within 1 month, everything is gone. So all these things can be taken care by providing a proper patient education and counseling. Next comes the protection. So the customers should be educated on protecting their spectacle from potential damage, especially extreme heat or cold, keeping away from chemicals. So I have seen patients and customers keeping their sunglasses or spectacles on the dashboard of the car, so that whenever there is scorching sun or heat, if the coating gets peeled off, they wear it and then they get injury also. Like I saw one recently, one patient where they kept the spectacle on the dashboard, and they just wore the sunglasses. Since it was a metal frame, it was so hot, it left with a nice mark on their skin. So that should be very nicely educated to the patient, and the counseling has to be given. And next couple of points are adjustments. So over time, any spectacle may require adjustments to ensure proper fit alignment. So you should make sure that if they feel spectacle is loose or uncomfortable, or it is not sitting properly on their face, they should always seek professional assistance instead of they itself trying to fix it or loosen or tighten it. Optometrists can make necessary adjustment for the frame, especially nose pads, temple arms, to optimize the comfort and visual performance. So it's very important you telling them, if you try and do anything on this aspect, it is going to break. And regular checkup, you have to encourage your patients to schedule the regular checkup with their optometrist. It's very important when it comes to education and counseling. Coming to the last part of the talk. So ongoing care and follow-up is also meant to be very important. So again, a case scenario, a patient has been wearing the same pair of spectacles for several years and notices their vision has become blurry and uncomfortable. During the eye examination, it was understood that patient prescription has changed, and optometrist is recommending the patient to upgrade the spectacle to a new prescription that provides an accurate visual correction. The patient is also expresses interest in exploring frame options that align with their updated style and preferences. So if you see here, there is a change in prescription. The patient wants to explore new frames. They also wanted to get a new frame and lenses for their updated style preference. So with that, so when you see a prescription changes, it is important to provide a proper new prescription, and you should also tell the new technology and advancements, because it is getting evolved every day, and you should be offering improved visual performance and comfort. So you upgrade the spectacles to incorporate the latest designs, such as high definition lenses or digital lenses, can provide patients with enhanced clarity, wider field of vision, and reduced visual distortion. So it's your duty to upgrade the patient or the customer, so that they understand their requirements, and you understand their requirements and satisfy their visual needs. Come to the next point, which is lifestyle and visual needs. Again, there is the changes in lifestyle, occupation, or hobbies may require different type of spectacles. So you, as per their requirement, you might be, so nowadays people are asking for 2 to 3 pairs. That practice is there in UK. So when I was doing my FPDO, people, while I was giving examination, so there used to be questions like, patient wants for their hobby, for their occupation, their indoor and outdoor. So nowadays the trend is being adapted even in India. So where some of the patients and customers ask for hobbies prescription, occupation related prescription, and for indoor and outdoor. So it's your responsibility to provide proper occupation spectacle or hobby spectacle. For example, if individual who spends longer hours in front of digital screen, they may be benefited with some form of coating or specialized lenses to reduce their digital eye strain. So these things needs to be communicated well, and which is an ongoing process for taking care of the patient. And upgrading spectacle lenses specifically tailored to the individual visual demands can also improve the visual comfort and productivity of the patient as well. And frame durability, wear and tear. Any spectacle is expected to undergo wear and tear. and hinges may loosen, or nose pads may deteriorate, or frames may become misaligned. So upgrading or replacing spectacle when the frame shows a sign of significant damage or loss of functionality ensures that patient can continue wear the spectacle comfortably and securely. Because if you avoid that, if the patient is telling, okay, no, I want to use this older frame, you should be in a position to explain the risk associated with it. If the patient is working as a driver, or patient has a high prescription and works outdoors, if frame is totally off from its positions, if it is going to affect their productivity as well as safety of the patient. So this has to be very properly communicated to the patient. Coming to the last point, patient style and preferences, where patient and like it is going to influence their individual desire, and opting for a new frame design and updating the style can enhance the self-confidence as well as the satisfaction with their eyewear. So I'll just play two videos where you can see what is the latest advancement in terms of precise measurement, and which we can use it in our day-to-day practice. So these two latest technologies are available for your for better dispensing. So it's I would recommend to use all these things in your practice as well. But having said all these things, your basics has to be right, and which is going to help you in terms of for a proper prescription, as well as giving a maximum visual comfort to the customer as well as patient. So thank you for your patient listening, and we can take up questions or discuss further. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Gopinath. It was a great talk, quite informative and very inspirational. I'm sure everyone joined today must be having a passion for dispensing optics, and basically it was a very big topic, but you gave justice to it by covering all the topics in a very short talk. So thank you so much. We would like to invite Ms. Urmi and Ms. Bhavya for panel discussion. Urmi ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, hi Harshita. Thank you so
Hello,
much.
ma'am. Yeah. Any questions you have for Dr. Gopinath?
So, Gopinath sir, would you like to suggest on these specialized lenses that will help with digital eye strain?
So there are specialized lenses, but specifically for digital light strain, if you ask, commercially available lenses are there from size like eyes and lenses, which says that it can be used for reducing the eye strain when they have difficulty for near reading for longer time. Apart from that, I don't see any specific digital eye strain lenses name as per available. So other members I think can add if they have anything on mind.
Okay, we have one more question from the FB. Do you suggest making frame adjustments in front of the customer at the counter, or stepping away to do the adjustments?
That's a tricky question. It depends. Like, I don't have a straight answer for that. It depends on how is the frame, and how well is the customer. If the customer is coming very angry, like, depends on the customer's mood also. So if the patient or customer coming like it's not sitting properly, and what did you do, all those things, it's better to do it not in front of them, or stepping away, or at the counter. Someone can engage the customer with them, and the adjustments can be done away from them. Otherwise, if they are coming for a regular fitting or modifications, you can do it. One problem in doing in front of them is they might also try doing it in their phone. Like, all these tools are available in online. In fact, if you want to loosen up or increase the tighten the nose pads, the star screws are available online, which you can get. So they might also try. So it has plus and minus. So depends on the patient's customer reaction, for what reason they have come for adjustment, and how well they are going to use the same method for them. So it depends on that, you decide. So that's my answer for it.
Yeah, actually, I just want to add here, it becomes very tricky, sometimes it becomes good to do it in front of the customer so that he understands the value, saying that, okay, you've made some adjustments, because most of the time they think that it is done by machines all the time, and it's no person expertise required. At the same time, when you are doing it, they should understand that it is, while doing it, the frame can break as well. So what I would suggest is, if you are doing it in front of the patient or the customer, you should have a caution note along with it. While you are doing it, you should tell them that this is quite fragile and this can break as well. So when they attempt, probably it can break and they come back to you with it. So yeah, but as Dr. Gopinath said, it's quite tricky. You have to, see the customer and then you have to decide what to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, ma'am. Okay, another question has come up. Is there any way to get a financial support to start up for the optical or eye care clinic?
I don't know, this is out of scope for this talk. I think experts can, whoever has an optical outlet or running it should be able to answer this. But there are options like if you have registered properly in MSME or Startup India aspects, and if you have proper 3 years of your financial returns and documented, and you should be able to approach, and at least 20 to 30% you should be able to invest. I think banks are open for loans nowadays, until you have proper documentation of your financial aspects and what is your contribution towards your business. So that's my answer. So yeah, Umi ma'am, you have any points?
I mean, some of the MNCs also do help, but it all depends. You should have your interest first, and you should be able to put in your part of it. There is no straight answer to it, or a place where we can say, okay, you go here and you will get all the financial help. At the same time, of course, loans are available. Plus, there are some MNCs who are interested in helping you out, provided you convince them that either you have your own setup at some remote place where the other people are not there, or the service is really important and you need to provide that. Plus, you from your side, you should be able to put in some money or some part of it, and then you should get it. But yeah, it's not openly available that, okay, you come here and take the loan, or you come here and take the financial support and it's all ready.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. There's one more question. Any comments while prescribing frames to pediatric patients?
Pediatric dispensing is totally a different playground. It involves the parent education, making the child to wear the glasses, and how to put it on, remove it, decide on what is the refractive index you're going to choose, whether you're going to put any coatings on the lenses, how the frame is going to be, because making understanding the parent the importance of wearing the spectacle for the kid, as well as making the child to wear the glasses, is very difficult. And it's more of it involves a holistic approach where sometimes we have to call the students, teachers at the school, so that the child wear the glasses. So depends on that, how concentrated the work is, the classroom activities. So other activities also important. And in terms of frames, there should be good length to bend, and angle of drop has to be maintained. The pantoscopic tilt and the frame size is going to be different from the regular adult frame. So all those things should be taken into account, and mainly the emotional aspects of the parent and the child should be convinced. And the fitting has to be very properly done, meticulously. Measurements needs to be taken. So these are all the very small points. But when it comes to pediatric dispensing, I think you really need to understand or do a couple of pediatric dispensing. Then only you'll be able to understand the different scenarios. It's not a straightforward, you as an adult, you just come, wear it, and then go. In pediatric frame itself, you have to modify some of the things. Some of them might need a band back, some of them might not need a band. So few children prefers fancy spectacles, few children doesn't prefer. So it depends on multiple requirements. But ideally, the lens has to be like a good impact resistant lens, and the frame has to be should not affect the skin on. It should be durable, and it should not break again. So these two things has to be taken care. rest of the like communication and making them understand will be done depending on the understand, like depending on the how much the patient and the parent understand.
Yeah, that's rightly said by Dr. Gopinath. One, I mean, I can't stress enough on facial measurements when it comes to pediatric fitting, because each child is, I mean, the face is different when they are growing. And, the same child, when you see a year before and a year after, the facial measurements change. So I think, while fitting them, facial measurements are very, very important. And if you measure it well and fit frame properly, more likely that they are going to wear, because then the frame falling away and I can't see some part of it and this and that and all those things does not come in picture. But yes, the psychology of parent and a child also plays very important role here, so you need to convince them. In my practice, probably the difficult or one of the difficult ones, kids whom I have seen while convincing them to wear glasses, is the children who have number only in one eye. So to convince them becomes very, very difficult, because if they don't want to wear glasses, they think without glasses also they are seeing well, and with glasses also they are seeing well, unless and until they close one eye, the good seeing eye. They don't really have the importance, and then they become the difficult ones to convince. But otherwise, of course, you need to convince them, and facial measurements are very, very important, because the adult frames are not going to fit them, and all kids frames are also not going to fit all children. So you have to be very careful there.
Yeah, just want to add one point. As you were saying, in pediatric patients, would you consider the facial, considering facial characteristics in geriatric patients while prescribing progressive glasses as well?
Can you rephrase your question?
Like suppose we had a patient who had chubby cheeks, and when she was laughing, her glasses were going up. So she was saying, it was intermittent blurring for her. So that time we noticed and we adjusted some fitting height and then gave her the glasses. So any other characteristics, facial especially, you should look for the while dispensing the glasses.
So you decide as per the face, like whether it is a rectangle face or oval face. You decide the shape of the frame as per the patient's face. And again, the nose bridge, whether the nose is like too sharp enough or it is too flat, like it is a flat nose. So that also impact whether you go with the frames with padded ones or a shell frame without any pads. So any shell frame without pads will drop down, and if it is a progressive lenses, it is not going to be on the fitting cross. So I would recommend, in case of progressives, always go with the padded ones, so that even if there is a minor, as you said, even if you need to change the fitting height or the positioning the frame, that can be done. Otherwise, depending on the face structure and the overall performance of the frame matter. So it also involves the cost of the frame and what the customer really needs. So all those things has to be taken care.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Gopinath. There's one more question. If the patient is using screwdrivers to tighten the nose pads at home, it may distort the positioning of the nose pads, especially those having pad arms. So will this cause a major problem if the lens is progressive lens or has high power minus or plus lens?
So it is going to affect, because if it is a progressive lens, definitely it is going to affect, because if you are closing the progressive lenses, nose pad, if you are closing it, that means you are pushing it in front. There is going to be change the vertex distance, as well as the fitting cross is going to change. If it is sitting too high, you are going to make the customer or the patient look through the intermediate vision rather the distance. if you are going to open the nose pads, it's going to sit so much lower so that they will not be able to see near properly. They have to literally do like this or go much closer to the text or take it far. So those things happens in terms of progressives. In case of high plus or high minus, depending on how much of horizontal and vertical decentrations are happening, there is going to be some form of some kind of prismatic effect. It may be tolerated or not tolerated. Usually 2 to 3 prism diopters of horizontal displacement is tolerated by, especially in Indian scenario, though the Western standard says only one or two prism diopters of horizontal disparity only can be accepted. But Indian patients we are much tolerated, so they tolerate in a much better way. But when it is too much disparity in terms of vertical, even a half or one prism diopter change will lead to a significant difference in case of very high myope or very high hyperope. Not in a moderate, like say -4, -5 diopters, should be able to tolerate to an extent. Otherwise, they will present with asthenotic symptoms. Either you have to change the frame or try to modify the nose plate, do adjustments in the nose pad to maximum extent to reduce the prismatic effect. So they will be able to see better. So that's the answer from me. And any points from Mudana and others?
No, basically, I mean, I would say that nose pad adjustments in case of progressive lenses should be done only prior to fitting your progressive lenses. After fitting the lenses, it should be done only for troubleshooting. Otherwise, you shouldn't be adjusting the nose pads afterwards. And that is why progressive fitting is very important, because prior to you fit the lenses, all these fittings have to be done. So whether customer does the screw pads adjustment or you yourself do it, the position shouldn't be changing after you fitted progressive lenses.
Okay, Dr. Gopinath, any views on the myopia control lenses like NeoSmart or?
My understanding right now in terms of myopia control lenses are only being prescribed or dispensed in a hospital setup. So if you are a private practitioner, unless the team from any brand like MyoSmart or you name it, whether it is a DIMS technology or whatever it is. So I believe it is right now, it is only, it has reached only the clinicians where hospital-based dispensing is being done. So when it comes to independent practice, I don't know how when it will reach. So that I think we should be able to get the myopia control lenses as per as say, like there are options like multifocal lenses are being prescribed for myopia control, and orthopathology technology is being used. But when it comes to specifically to MyoSmart or other different ones being launched in the last 1 year, it has been reached only hospital setup. For independent practitioners, I don't know what is the current situation. Whether they really work or not, you should be able to look at the papers. How is the sensitivity, specificity, and how is the progression, whether it is controlled. So there are publications from each company. So they claim how much of progression control is being done. Ideally, I remember most of them tell that 70% of the myopia progression can be controlled within 1 year. That they claim that up to 0.5 to 0.75 to 0.5 to 0.75, diopters is considered to be like control myopia. So that's what they say. So any points from Nina?
Okay. There's one more question. There's a female age 56 years, and she has both eyes hyperopia, left eye amblyopia, with the addition of plus 2.25. So what would you suggest, bifocal or the two separate glasses?
but it depends on the need. If the patient needs bifocal spectacle, you prescribe bifocals, whether the patient is amblyopic. You mentioned the patient is amblyopic. I'm just reading the Facebook comment. It
Yes,
says,
the patient left eye is in myopia. Vision is
So,
660 on the left.
I think best corrected visual acuity, whatever the prescription needs to be prescribed. Apart from that, addition, you can prescribe as a bifocal or a progressive, whatsoever it is, because it is an amblyopic eye. Yeah, whatsoever you do, whether you give bifocal or progressives, the dominant eye is going to be taking over, and it is going to provide better vision. So in that case, depends on the patient need, whether you prescribe them as two separate glasses for distance and near, or progressives or bifocals, whichever they need will be a better option. So that should be decided by the patient and what is the requirement.
Okay, next question is, can you give us some information on apical radius multipurpose optical scale?
Sorry, I'm not sure. I heard it, but I have never used it or had a chance to use it, so I'm not sure.
Urmi ma'am, would you like to comment on this?
No, not really, because not sure of this scale. The other scales, what we use for facial measurements, those are, I mean, you know, all the measurements you can do with those scales, but I'm not sure of this particular scale, what she's asking, apical radius multipurpose optical scale. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll take the next question about the blue cut lenses. Is there any scientifically proven evidence that it is helpful for preventing dry eye or vision syndromes? So do you recommend blue cut lenses to customers?
So if you have to answer as like a researcher, I would not recommend, because there are very limited evidences available on the effect of blue cut lenses, how it is impacting the visual performance of humans, especially like the retinal aspects, whether it is reducing the AMD or whether it is reducing the eye strain things. So it is very limited evidence is available. So long way to go to understand the real impacts. Whatever the product claims are being done by the industry people are all are from clinical evidences, where they use animal models and understand how is the effect of blue cut lenses on their visual performance, especially circadian rhythm and other things. So for if the customer is really wanting to get a blue cut lenses, it's up to you. You can tell them real fact that this is like not 100% proven. Very limited understanding has been done, research has been done. So it's up to them to decide whether to take it up or not. But as a researcher, I may not go with blue cut lenses. That's my answer. So do you have any points, ma'am?
No, nothing to add, but yes, it's a very debatable topic actually. So there is no clear yes, clear no from anybody. It is very individual choice right now, as you said. So people prefer to prescribe, people don't prefer to prescribe, but yeah, it's a debatable thing, and there is no clear-cut answer to this. To me, if you ask, I don't prefer to prescribe. But then there are people who prescribe, and I can't really go against it. It's their choice. So
like I remember we published something called white paper on blue cut lenses 2.5 years back through another association, and major outcomes from that where it doesn't provide any beneficiary effect on the eye, but it doesn't cause any problem also. So it depends. So as a practitioner, you have to convey this clearly to the patient. It doesn't affect or it doesn't provide any protective aspect. So that has to be communicated well. So if you are able to do that, then I think your practice will be better. So it may not be only for blue cut lenses. For anything new comes up, or anything which is going to help the patient. So that needs to be where evidence-based practice has to start even for dispensing optics. So you should look for what is available. Maybe very small talks on local lenses are available from optometric perspective. I think OCI also has presented a couple of them. So you go through that and understand what is the recent update, then decide. This is a diplomatic answer, but you want.
Okay, Sakina, are there any questions on FP?
There is one more. I'll just type it in.
Yeah, what would you prefer, Preventia or other local blue cut lenses?
Again, that's a controversial question. I don't have any answer.
Okay. All right, so yeah, so I think we are done. Thank you so much, Dr. Gopinath, for the wonderful talk. I would also like to thank Ms. Urmi and Ms. Bhavya for joining as a panelist, and Sakina being a back-end support. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can still type it in chat box. No, I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. We would like to end on this note. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Gopinath, for the wonderful insights. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.